DJ, I know that you're not the world's biggest basketball fan, but before this podcast
Wait, what?
started, we were not NBA fan. I apologize.
That's better.
Um, yeah, that's better. I'm sorry. But before we get started here, before the podcast, before we even started recording tonight, you were talking about gambling and how you got all these sure bets and everything. You're I'd call you a little bit of a degenerate. How long is it? How many weeks into the NBA season until you're betting on nearly every single game? Because there are millions of NBA games and it's hard to look at them and not pull the trigger.
The funniest thing my buddy that I'm betting with said to me is like, I've convinced myself about a month into the season you're going to be betting NBA games. Like, I feel like everybody knows something I don't know, but I kind of know it. But I'm already trying to hold myself off from betting NBA games since I know there's something on TV to cheer for, and I'm really struggling internally.
Well, before we lose all our money betting NBA while we can still afford to drink, let's get loaded. Because this is the Loaded Box Podcast.
I think that sucked because we never finished first because we finished last.
It actually sort of sounded like you spilled beer all over your computer.
Oh, no, I didn't do that.
Well, welcome back. New listeners, welcome to the best experience of your life. Loyal listeners, welcome back to your favorite podcast, and definitely our favorite podcast. As we're back, it's our second preview pod of the week. Our first one, if you missed that, go back and check that one out. It was our Week 8 fantasy football preview. This one is going to be gambling focused, straight up picks, against the spread picks. We're going to highlight our carded games, the one that we're really telling you to bet on. But DJ, last week, the ones that you really told people to bet on, you picked 6 games, went 2-4 for -6 units. Get this,
Bucket.
I went a season high, 5 games carded. I went 4-1, still only managed to be +1 unit. That damn big unit game every time gets me. I'm winning every 1 unit bet, and anytime I go any higher, I'm losing.
I just forgot about our pick together. We doubled up.
Oh, that was right. Thank you very much to the listeners. Which game did they tell us to pick again? The Rams?
The Rams -3.
So we're going to have to do that again, right? Like we're going to have to decide
Absolutely.
as we're going. So if you missed it, little backstory. Me and DJ stumbled upon some money. We said, you know what? Rather than be responsible and use it towards something good, let's put it on an NFL game. So we picked a game that DJ liked, a game that I liked, and then a game that we both sort of liked. Put it into a Twitter poll, and then let you, the listener, decide. So we'll do it again. We're going to double up, right?
Do we save the 60 that we already had and bet 60 and then try to keep that riding so we can go 60, 120, blah, blah, but always know we have the 60? Or do we bet 120 and just keep trying to double it up?
If I would have had more beers prior to recording, I would say let's just do the 120 and see what happens. But I'm only 1 deep, so I kind of feel like we should save half in case, like the rainy day fund.
Honestly, the degenerate in me, I have actually become a legit degenerate. Like it's actually becoming a bad thing. I want to just bet the 120. Like I need to make our money back, my money back that I've lost, and I just need to keep doubling it so we can split it 500,000 when we're millionaires.
Not gonna lie, I can't even believe you asked the question. I thought for sure you'd want to bet it all.
Oh, I have to bet it all.
Dude, so this week I think it's going to go down as like the week of the home favorite. All but one home team this week is the favorite, and I believe that it probably would be all of the home teams if Mahomes wouldn't have been hurt. So I sort of feel like it would be a strategy to put a single unit on every single road dog and just see how it turns out, because I legit think picking road teams this week might just be the secret to success. And you might find that out as we go through these picks. But let's kick it off with the first game. DJ, you can lead it off. We got Giants at the Lions. Lions favored by 7 with an over-under of 49.
This is poop. Matthew Stafford, he's been slaying it pretty well. They just got their asses kicked by the Vikings, which in a game that I thought I had won for a little while, it was close until, like, I don't know, third quarter, and then all of a sudden the Vikings just took off. Again, I was checking on my phone, so I don't have tons of information, but I think that's about right. Giants haven't been playing well as of late, so straight up, I'm going to go the Lions. 7 points is a lot of points. I almost never lay double digits, but 7 points for a Lions football team is too much. It's almost double digits, and it's basically double digits for an average team. So a touchdown Lions versus Giants, a team that I don't really trust. I'm gonna take the Giants against the spread if I have to bet the side on that one.
I'm not carding it, but I have to go opposite because a team that you don't trust, yeah, we all have our feelings about the Lions, just literally disappointing people year in and year out. But that's what the Giants have been too. That it's been a while since the Giants have been relevant, and Daniel Dimes has not been all that relevant. Like Saquon can only do so much. Who knows if he's even 100% healthy?
Well,
Go ahead.
that's the thing is like how are the Lions a 60% Saquon Barkley is going to be able to run all over this
Yeah.
Lions like defensive line. So how are the Lions going to? I don't even know if they'll get the ball that often. I honestly think Giants can just run it constantly, which hasn't been their forte in the past. But this year it can be, especially against the Lions team that I just see getting pushed around on the ground constantly. They just keep getting up a ton of yards. There's no reason the Giants can't hang in this game the whole time.
Oh, they absolutely do. And it's not a carded game for me, so I don't really feel too strong one way or another. So I don't want to spend a ton of time on it arguing a point that I'm not 100% like totally on. But if the Lions get ahead in this game, that ability for the Giants to control the how the game goes with their ability to run the ball against this really bad Lions run defense might go out the window. And if you can make the Giants one dimensional in this one, I have to favor the Lions. I'm not a huge fan of it. Like I said, I'm not carding it, but I'm not betting on the Giants. I'm taking the Lions here.
I might end up betting the Giants in this game, but it's not. I'm not going to card it yet. But I might come Saturday, Sunday. Look for my tweet. I might add it to the card.
Could be added. We'll see. Game time decision. Let's go
We'll
into
see.
the next one here. We got the Buccaneers at the Titans. Titans favored by 2.5 over under a 45.5. What do you got here?
Well, I'm on record thinking O.J. Howard's going to have a big game here. Titans defense has been playing great. Bucks coming off a bye. I think Jameis just had a shitty game. That's when he kind of bounces back and has a really good game. I might take a bunch of dogs this week, and it's probably a good idea because people don't like to bet the dogs. If I had to, I'm not. This one I'm leery about because both sides of the ball just, I'm not sure about. I don't really trust Ryan Tannehill. The front seven for the Bucks is great, but the secondary's bad. If the Bucks can score a lot, the Titans have no chance. But the Titans can slow them down, then the Titans could win close, which I can understand why it's 2.5. But I'm going to side with the Bucks both ways. I think they can come in and beat the Titans, and I don't think it's a surprise if they do. I don't think you'd be shocked if they've won.
No, not shocked, but man, we're gonna have at this rate, we're gonna have a tough time trying to figure out a game that we agree on. Because I'm the exact opposite, and I said right when we started that it's the week of the road dog, but this is the one game I'm definitely going against that strategy because this is a carded play for me. I'm going my most confident one unit on the Titans. Get this while it's at 2.5. If it goes to 3, that's fine. If it goes to 3.5, then buy the damn hook. This game is probably going to be low score. I almost kind of like the under here at 45.5. I don't see that many points being scored. But I said it on our fantasy preview podcast. If the Titans offensive line can give Tannehill just enough time, the dude's used to taking a pounding. He sees ghosts. He's just like Sam Darnold. They both see ghosts in that damn pocket. They need to protect for Derrick Henry. They need to get it done on the ground. But just give him enough time to make plays back there. He will carve up this Bucs secondary. And that's saying, like, not saying a lot about Ryan Tannehill. It's saying how bad this secondary is playing right now. I love this game if it's a field goal or less. I'm only going a unit because I'm superstitious and I only win games that I bet one unit on. So yeah, I'm totally in on the Titans. I'm really confident in that in this week.
I don't know. I just kind of like the Bucks. I think Jameis is going to let her go. Let it go.
You've been a Buck supporter ever since you drafted Jameis Winston in 19 fantasy leagues, though.
Yeah, buddy.
The Chicago Bears are at home against the Chargers. Man, like week one, heading into the NFL season, I'd be like, I am pumped for this. You got the Chargers in a good offense, Bears in a great defense. Now I could kind of take or leave this game. I'm not excited whatsoever. It's Bears by 4 over under a 40.5.
I mean, they're both playing two teams that we thought were going to be good that just aren't right now. I'm going to be honest with you. There's something I love in this game, and I already wrote it down on the bottom. I'm going to try to give you guys, to be a little more realistic, I'm going to start giving you guys my real units so I can show my confidence on the bets. I'm not going to give out 5s right all the time, but I'm going to start out with 5 units. If you give me over 40 points in a Bears game against a Chargers offensive line who can't score. The only thing I'm worried about is that the Bears defense scores like 3 or 4 times. And the Chargers defense scores 3 or 4 times.
Right.
And it's just a defensive shootout playing offense. Under 40.5 is maybe the easiest. This is my lock of my lifetime. Easily
lock
under
of a
40.5.
lifetime. It's a new one.
There'll be max 25 points in this game. Max 25 points. I would be surprised if they got to 20. But there'll be a max of 25 points. That's where I'll max it out. Love the under 40.5. Let's card that 5 units. I have to take a side. Fuck. That's so hard because the Bears are so bad right now. But the Chargers' offensive line is the worst thing I've ever seen. What week is it? 8?
Week 8. They're without now Forrest Lamp and Mike Pouncey.
One more week for the Chargers of shittiness. I'll go straight up Bears against the spread. Just like they lost by 1 point, you got to go Chargers, right? They lose close.
You should have just been, ever since you brought that out, that the Chargers and Phillip Rivers don't turn it on until like week 9, week 10. If you'd have just ridden out that strategy, you have so much money right now.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to start betting the Chargers next week and beyond.
You could do that. So I was telling you, road dogs, I'm doing it again. Straight up, I kind of like the Bears here, but 4 points with that offense, I'm just not big into it. What scares me about your bet is we both thought Bears-Saints was going to be a fairly low-scoring game, and here the Saints come out with Teddy Bridgewater, no Alvin Kamara, and just basically throttle the Bears. We both thought that was going to be a low-scoring, like 3-point game. So I'm a little scared about that. But I don't really ever see the Bears winning by a lot against any team. And if there's a team that needs a win, needs to take advantage of Patrick Mahomes being out, it's the freaking Los Angeles Chargers. Even if they don't win this, I see it being kind of like that 3-4 point game either way. Every Los Angeles Chargers game comes down to Phillip Rivers and one final possession anyways. And then you got Melvin Gordon fumbling at the goal line. We're going to have a close game here. Not carding, taking the Chargers against the spread.
It's funny because it's so cliche to say the Chargers, they're going to lose this game close, but it's not. I mean, cliche is cliche, but it's right. Like, it keeps happening, so it's not wrong.
For the last 12 years.
Everybody says that. Well, everybody says it because it fucking happens.
Mm-hmm.
So why would you say anything opposite? It happens constantly, so it's the right thing to say. If you're not saying it, you're just being the Antichrist.
Well said. This next game, I'm interested to seeing what you do here because last week you were just freaking oozing with confidence about the Jets, taking them money line, taking them against the spread, against the Patriots.
Ouch.
Well, this week you get to play with 6 points as they are road dogs against the Jags by 6, over under of 41. You back on that Jets? Back on the Jet, or are you not so much this week?
Not only am I back, I am doubling up on the money line for the Jets. Sam Darnold is a good quarterback. He sees a couple of ghosts every now and then. But you know what? So did the guy in The Sixth Sense, and the guy was dead the whole time. So we're fine. I don't know what that means, but let's just somehow make that correlate in the end. I'll figure it out as we go on, and I'll come back to it in about 4 games. But I think Sam Darnold bounces back, has a great game. We see the Sam Darnold we saw against the Cowboys. The Patriots defense just, that offensive line, any guy, Aaron Rodgers has seen ghosts when his offensive line is playing like that. He can't get a fucking half second without, he just assumes he's going to get hit. That's what he thinks because that offensive line is so bad. And I know the Jags obviously have a great pass rush, but I expect Sam Darnold to bounce back, Le'Veon to have a good game. I'm starting Sam Darnold this week because I'm not scared. Everybody's going to be on the Jags, and that's exactly what Vegas wants. I'm not comfortable unless I'm uncomfortable. I'm money lining this, not spread. I'm going to money line this, so obviously I'm taking the Jets both ways. Money line Jets, we're going to go sprinkle it 2 units.
No, now
I'm going to go crazy on a money lane.
Now I'm nervous because this is a carded play, and it's one of my road dogs, and I love the fact that you're getting 6 here. I'm with you, too. If the public can continue to just see Sam Darnold's 5 turnovers last week, see the Jaguars win last week, get that puppy to 7 somehow, I might increase this, but right now I have a 1 unit play on the Jets as well. So I have a feeling this one just might make that just might make that Twitter poll the way things have been going. But I'm with you. The Jets aren't as bad as what we saw Monday night. And I know that's tough because you don't see a lot of Jets games typically right now. So when you see them on primetime against the world's best football team, it's a little bit disappointing when they don't score a single point and their quarterback is literally falling away, running for his life, just chucking out balls to the Patriots. It was ridiculous just to watch that game. Oh, it was brutal. I've seen a lot of brutal football being a Dolphins fan. That sucked. I would have hated every second of that as a Jets fan.
Here's the thing. I know what I was doing in that game. The Sharps were betting the Jets in that game. I was on the right side. It just didn't go the way we thought it was. The Jets will bounce back. I backed right. I made the right bet. As long as I'm betting with the Sharps, who make all the money, I felt confident about that bet. I was on the right side, and I just happened to lose. It happens. It happens to the best of us. To the good ones, not to you shitty ones.
The right side of a team that didn't score a single point. Let's move on.
You know what? If the Jets would have just scored 6 touchdowns, we were good.
That's true. That's all they needed.
Yeah.
Well, in my case, to win high for the week, I just needed them to score 6 points, but they couldn't even do that, assholes.
Yeah, fuck 'em.
Let's move on to the Eagles at the Bills. We got the Bills favoring this by 1.5. Kind of a shocking spread, but man, I'm telling you, it's the week of the road dog. We got Bills by 1.5, over under a 43.5. What do you have here?
If I had a top stay away game of the week, this would be it.
Oh yeah.
I don't know where it's gonna go. 43.5 seems low, but the Bills could hold them to nothing, and the Eagles could stop the Bills completely because they couldn't get the run game going. And Josh Allen just isn't a passing quarterback. He relies on that run game to get going and the defense to play well. But then he also could have a good games because he's playing against the Eagles secondary.
Right.
And Carson Wentz could, be Carson Wentz, where we know he's a good quarterback. We know Carson Wentz is a good quarterback. We just do. It's a fact of life. He is a good quarterback. He could just go off in a random game, and they both could score a bunch of points. It could be 60 points, total. So the over-under is just a messy thing. That 1.5 fucks with me because I have no idea.
Time.
You're essentially picking a winner. If you're going to pick the Eagles, you got to go money line. You can't go plus the 1.5. That would just be dumb. And if you're taking the Bills, it's scary. It's all scary. If I had to take one, I'd side with the Eagles. I got to think they win a game here.
I'm with you on that one. I'm straight up and against the spread Eagles. I'm not betting it yet. It's not an official card play for this podcast. But yeah, so this is my take on the Bills right now because I haven't seen an outright game until that last week when they played the Dolphins. I've seen spurts on Red Zone just flipping through the channels. I wanted more for having that record. I knew what their offense was. I knew they weren't a juggernaut by any means. I thought that defense was going to be so lights out, and I'm like, that's why they're in games. They didn't look, and I know every team has a game here and there where they're not to the best of their abilities, and maybe that was that game against the Bills. It just didn't. I was a little bit underwhelmed by that defense. They had their spurts where they were really sticking it to the Dolphins, but that Dolphins offense, which can't typically do anything, had success, was able to run the ball with Mark Walton, was able to complete passes at a consistent rate with Ryan Fitzpatrick and Devontae Parker. If you get the Eagles coming in at full force here, I think the Eagles really should win this game, and especially the way they just got trounced on by the Cowboys. They need to win this game. On Sunday, I'm with you. Sunday morning, this might find its way onto my card. I'm not making it an official podcast pick play, but man, I like the Eagles in this game. Road dog, baby.
Number one stay away game for me. Do not bet it. If anybody puts this on their card, they're lying, thinking they have any idea what's happening.
Just desperate to get a little action on a game.
Yeah, it's not Sunday night.
That's true. It's not a prime time. You don't feel obligated to do it. Let's look at the Bengals at the Rams. We got the Rams favored by 13 over under a 48.
It's a lot of fucking points to be favored by.
Sure
Again,
is.
I can't lay the number on a Rams team. I just can't. I know they beat the shit of the Falcons in the last game, but I just think the Bengals at this point are just more competitive than the Falcons. I think they actually care a little bit more. I just do. I don't know what it is. The Falcons are trash. They are trash. I'm talking about them. They're not even picking their game, and I'm ripping on them. That's all annoying. I don't even know why I'm annoyed because I just continue to be right about the Falcons, and they make me look good. I should actually be a fan of the Falcons because of how right I am about them. How right I am about Matt Ryan and that shit-ass team. they're terrible.
Well, it'd be
But
perfect. It'd be perfect for you too because you could just play the opposite card of that, and just every week you just bet
yeah,
against them, and then be happy that they lost.
they got. If I bet against the Falcons every single week this year, I think I'd be like 6-1 with that pick.
Right, probably
It
would
would,
be.
it would be money. I think they won one game against the spread, and it was like the one game I bet them. So I gotta go. I gotta go Bengals ATS against the spread here. This is 13 points. Just a general rule of thumb, I think, in the NFL, it's hard to lay double digits unless it's like Patriots versus the worst schedule ever in the first the first 6 weeks. It's hard to lay double digit points. So against the spread, I'm going to go with the Bengals. It's just a general rule of thumb. I'm not carding this, but the Rams will win. They better because I have them in my Survivor League, and I'm down to like 7 people. So I picked them, and they're going to win because I think they're going to win.
So let me get this straight. You're not carding it, but if you had to give advice to a person that was new to gambling, you would tell them to bet on the Cincinnati Bengals.
Well, I wouldn't tell them to bet on this game at all.
All right, that's what I really wanted to hear. I wanted you to just say avoid it because that's what I would personally do in this exact situation. The Rams absolutely have that potential to break out at any time on offense and score 35, 40 points. That's not going to be an issue. It shouldn't be an issue against this Bengals team, but there's something going on with that offense yet. Like we saw it against the Falcons. You covered that in depth. I don't need to hammer that home again. But I need to see it on a more consistent basis before I start betting on the Rams as double-digit favorites against anybody. So yeah, not carding it, but I'm not going to tell someone to bet on the Bengals. That's the last thing I'm ever going to do. So yeah, got to give me the Rams both ways here.
If they came up to me and said, "I'm only going to bet on this one game, and you have to tell me what side to pick against the spread," I'm going to say, "Bet the Bengals. Too many points."
And then I'll just say bet the Rams, and then they'll be so confused they'll move on to a new game.
Well, you wouldn't have been there, so fuck you.
Son of a bitch. All right, well, I see that you put in a line for this one because earlier today I didn't see one, but we got Cardinals at Saints, and according to DJ, it's Saints by 10.5.
It is 10.5 points.
Whew.
That's a good amount of points. That's a weird number, right? That's a really weird number for an Arizona team that everybody thinks is kind of hot. They've had some good opponents to face against with Kyler Murray running around. I'll give him that. He's still not good. He's not a good quarterback. It's not going to work. They're not going to work there at all. I love how people jump on guys like Lamar Jackson isn't people can make this claim that Lamar Jackson isn't a bust. Have you guys seen his passing numbers the last 3-4 weeks? They're trash. He is playing running back, and he's just running the ball and completing 30% of his passes and missing guys. That's just what he does.
And if history repeats itself, that's worked for a year or two, and then it's not sustainable. Defenses figure that out. They get hit, they get an injury, they come back, they're not the same. It just hasn't worked.
Yeah, no, it's just not going to continue to work. People think it's going to. It's not. It falls out of the real fast. Everybody's talking about Michael Vick. Even fell off. It worked longer for him, but eventually it fell off. I guess he had to go to prison for a little while, but he just had to do a stint, killing dogs and shit.
He could hone in on his accuracy there.
This one I'm not super confident in, but I do want to card this one because I feel like people are going to be on the cards. I want to card this one because it's on the cards. I'm not on the cards. I think the Saints cover the spread 10.5. I'm going to 1-unit this one because I'm not overly confident, but I just don't like the Cardinals, and it feels like the general public's going to be on the Cardinals just because they've been playing pretty decent and they think that they're getting better. And the Saints have been hot too, so it's kind of hard. I just think general public's going to see a team that's winning a couple of games and staying close. It's been on a 2-game winning streak with the short quarterback that's running around, and they get excited for games like that, like Lamar Jackson, and I just imagine the public's going to be like 65% in the Cardinals. For that reason, I'm going the Saints minus 10.5, 1 unit.
I'm going to say straight up on this one, I have no good feeling one way or another. I think a lot of that boils down to I'm seeing the spread for the first time right now, so I didn't get a really good chance to dissect this one. However, I don't know, you obviously can't see this because this is a podcast, but I wrote straight up, before I even knew the spread, I wrote straight up Saints against the spread Saints. Because straight up, I was obviously going New Orleans. And against the spread, just like the Bengals, I can't tell someone to bet on the Cardinals. So what I'm going to do is tell you to not bet on it. But yeah, for the sake of this podcast, I have to go with the Saints. I have nothing more to add, unfortunately. I'm sorry.
Well, it's good.
Good. Raiders and Texans. We got the Texans favored by 6.5, over under of 51.5.
Oh, the Texans. Oh, the Texans. I'm so confused by the Texans. 6.5 points. 51.5 is a pretty big number for that NFL. I don't want to push the over. I think that's where everybody kind of wants to go with that. I feel like when you see a high number, I don't know. I see a high number I want to go over. I typically lose that, so it feels like you should go under. I'm trying to play my brain nowadays against it to help me. I'm not going to touch that part. The Texans just came off a tough game. They're getting the Raiders at home. Raiders just got their ass kicked. Pass rush may not be the greatest. Well, I don't know who the Raiders got their ass kicked to, but they just got stomped by some really good fucking just amazing Hall of Fame best quarterback in the NFL still, can play on one ankle like one other quarterback in the NFL can't do. I don't know who that would be. But anyways, I'm gonna side with the Texans straight up for sure. They're gonna win this game. They're a good football team. It's a good football team. It's a playoff team. This is a team that can beat the Patriots come playoff time and will beat the Patriots come playoff time. I'm telling you right now. I think the Raiders can play it close, though. I'm gonna give them the edge. I get that 6.5. I would prefer it at 7, but I'm not buying the hook because I'm no bitch.
Any card action here or no?
No card action, not at all. I think the Raiders, they can throw the ball on the Texans. I told you this. Derek Carr is my DFS play. They can throw the ball against this team. Texans are gonna have to have a good mix against this football team. Raiders are overall just not that bad. They're an average football team, so you don't know what they're going to bring to the table. Tyrell Williams might be coming back. That's going to be adding another weapon. Derek Carr seems to have a ton of time. I'm almost talking myself into the Raiders even more, so I'm going to go against the spread of the Raiders before I put it on my card and just stop.
We talked about this before the season started, that we both wanted to have the Raiders with more wins this year when we did our forecasting for the season. But then you just looked at their schedule, and it was hard to find wins for this team. And it's because of games like this. It's at Houston. Not that Houston's a terribly difficult place to play, but like you said, that's a team that's going to be contending for a division, contending for a wild card spot if they don't win the division. This is going to be a tough game. So I'm exactly with you on that one. I'm Texans straight up, but I am Raiders against the spread. I think they're going to bounce back a little bit, literally after being embarrassed in that game against the Packers. And end of the day, yeah, the Texans can kind of be had a little bit. This number does look big. I'm not opposed to the over in this one. But as of this point, not carding it, but I am exactly with you on this one. Texans straight up, Raiders against the spread. Another one of those road dogs this week. Take all those damn road dogs this week, man.
Take them.
Panthers at 49ers. You got the 49ers at home, favored by 5.5, over under of 41.5.
I'm done with the 49ers. I'm done with these guys.
The
done
undefeated
with
team?
their 9-0 Reds. With this Redskins shit, with their weak schedule, with everybody thinking that this is a good football team. Their defense is good. I'll give them that. Their defense is really good. There's not enough on this offense that I can see them succeeding.
They got Manny Sanders now.
They make the playoffs. Yeah, they got Emmanuel Sanders. Great, awesome. Jimmy Garoppolo stinks. Stinky quarterback. Stinks. He smells. I'm gagging at the smell of him right now. I just wrote 5 units Panthers plus 5.5. I'm confident. That's all. That's my lock of the half century here, and I am actually going to sprinkle one more unit on the Panthers money line as well. One more unit on the Panthers money line. 49ers are not undefeated anymore after this week. 5 units plus 5.5. 1 unit on the money line. It'll probably be plus 185 if I had to take a guess. 185 for it. So you bet $100 you win 185 in that area. Let me scroll down. It's more than that. It's plus 210.
Well, there you go.
Money right there.
The listeners won't understand what I'm saying here, but just so that I'm not confused later, you have the Saints playing the Cardinals and you have the Panthers playing the Cardinals on your agenda there. So just for clarity's sake, I wanted to make sure you knew who you were betting on, knew who they were playing
I knew
against.
Exactly who I was betting on.
I know you had Cardinals written above it.
I said the right team name.
You did. You were all good. So you're going to go Panthers straight up and money line and against the spread
Love
here.
It. Oh, I love it.
Okay, this is another one of those games where I'm taking the home team to win. I'm taking the road dog to cover. I'm with you on that. The 49ers offense, I'm in like flux with them right now. Like I want them to be more than I think they are because I'm not in on Jimmy Garoppolo, but I'm not completely out yet. I'm in on Kyle Shanahan. I'm I like their running backs, dude. They have a stable of running
Yeah,
backs that can all get the job done. They
they've
have
got
a
solid
like
running backs.
here's the funny thing about this team. They're wide receivers. They all are like that, kind of like that potential good, but none of them take you over the top. So that's why I think they brought in Emmanuel Sanders. The funny thing is, he's not really that guy either. They just
Nope.
added another average to slightly above average wide receiver that's a little bit older, coming off major like knee injury. So I'm not quite sure exactly what that solves. But yeah, I think this is going to be a close game. We've seen the Panthers. I think have they won every single game that Kyle Allen has started. They're
Yeah,
coming off.
him and Teddy Bridgewater, I
Yeah,
think, are both undefeated.
exactly. They just got done slaughtering another team overseas. Now they have a bye week. They get to prepare for this defense. Hopefully, they can do a little bit of pass blocking here. We're going to see a fresh Christian McCaffrey. I wouldn't be surprised if they won this one straight up, but I am going to go
Listen,
Panthers against the spread. I'm not officially carding this one yet. I maybe will talk myself into this one on Sunday as well. But
yeah,
yeah, if I'm telling
listen to
someone to
this.
bet, it's Panthers.
This is not even close. This is the best defense they've played this year, and it's not even close. They played the Buccaneers, shit
Trash,
defense. The Bengals, shit
trash.
defense. The Steelers, when they were playing like one of the worst defenses in the league,
Right.
they're playing better now, but they were playing really bad. The Browns, good, actually pretty good defense. I'll give them that one. The Rams, not a good defense, and the Redskins, who's not a good defense, and they won 9-0. They kicked 3 field goals. This is by far their toughest challenge defensively. They're not going to be able to throw the ball because Carolina's just not letting people throw the ball. They're going to be able to. I just don't know how they're going to get anything going against this Panthers team. Carolina's got weapons. Like I hate to say this, but DJ Moore is a baller. Curtis Samuel is playing good, and then they have maybe the best overall weapon in all the NFL in Christian McCaffrey. Richard Sherman can't cover though. Like he can't. If he got that zone coverage that he's playing, but if you watch him when there's guys in the zone, he's just running backwards. And if like they stop, he's still running backwards.
Yeah.
Like if you give Kyle Allen time, you give a quarterback some time. You got to give them some time against this, just a little bit of time against this Niners defense, because honestly, that's where they're making their hay. It's not this defensive backs; it's that front seven that's getting to the quarterback. You give them that 3 seconds that they need. I think they can. I think teams can pick the secondary apart. I don't like the secondary.
Well, that might have been our first making hay reference of 2019. So with that, we'll move on to the Broncos at the Colts. Colts by 5.5. Speaking of horses, Colts by 5 and Colts and Broncos. Man, this is a game of the horses here. And making hay. Broncos at Colts. Colts by 5.5. Over under of 43.5.
Oh shit! This is another under game. I mean, both these defenses are solid.
Yeah.
Broncos have a great defense. Colts have a good defense. They're down a guy. Colts have an okay defense, but the Broncos have such a shitty offense, it makes it that much better. Broncos have a good defense with a solid quarterback, a decent core, but the Broncos have a really good defense, so it's like 43.5.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. Watching that Broncos Chiefs game, even after Mahomes went out, you're like, man, the Broncos might find a way to be in this game.
Nope.
Did the body language of everyone on that team, mostly Joe Flacco, just look like, dude, I don't give a shit that I'm here. I'm collecting a paycheck. I am out.
Oh, yeah, as soon as Drew Lock can play, he should be playing.
Oh, my God. Absolutely should be. You have to get him in there ASAP.
Shit, I'm doing it. 3 units under 43.5. Under 43.5 Broncos and Colts. 3 units. Love that number. I'm going to take the Colts both ways because the Broncos are, I think they finally, this is where they said, all right, we're just not good enough. Let's start making moves.
That's what makes me, so yeah, I'm not yet carding this game, but I am going Colts straight up. I am going Colts against the spread. But that's exactly it for me. Like, this is that make or break week where we're actually going to see the Broncos come out with a little bit of fire, or it's no, we're mailing it in. Let's see what the hell we have for next year. There's still, I don't know if it's going to happen or not, obviously, but there's still trade rumors about like Von Miller potentially getting dealt before the deadline. They already traded Emmanuel Sanders. They're going to be sellers going into the deadline. They're probably evaluating right now for 2020 and beyond. They just look like a team that's not in it this year, whereas the Colts, man, that AFC South division is just wide open right now with all of those teams. They're kind of like must win every week when you're in that kind of situation because each team is just going to beat each other up like home and away. I'm really, really tempted to pull the trigger on the Colts here. I only see that line going up too. Like I don't see getting better value than 5.5. So I think if you're going to do it, you just got to do it.
I already have 6 games on the card as I go, and there's still like 3 more to go, right? So
there are 3 more to go, but you're down a lot of units. You got to win a couple bets here, and this is how you do it.
Do we have a read, or do we have to do a read today, or no?
Not today.
So I got to give it up. I was going to say this. So I'm drinking this beer, Carbon 4, out of Madison, Wisconsin here. They're our sponsor for my basketball team here in Madison Rec League, so I'm going to give them a little shout out. My son talked me into getting this beer. He just said, get the kitty cat beer. It's got a kitty cat on the label, and I was like, fuck it. He said it. I'm going to get it. It's called Radicats. I'm not a big IPA guy usually, but I've been trying to expand my horizons. New England style Indian Pale Ale. This is fucking delicious. I'm not kidding you. I'm not just saying that to say that. On a 10 scale, this is a 8.2. That's high. That is really high.
So you've got an in with them, and the beer is good. Why haven't you hooked us up with like a year supply of that shit, and we can talk about them on every podcast, DJ?
I should work on that. I should work on that.
All right, we're going to talk about 3 more games, and then you've got homework. You call those motherfuckers with the cat label, with the 80s headband or whatever the hell that cat had on his head.
It's a hat.
I go
there every Thursday after basketball. We know the owners.
Well, I want some of that beer. You talk to them, all right?
They have this beer called Oktober Ale. It is the best Oktoberfest beer. I'm going to get a Steiny of it or whatever it's called because I don't go over there in the fall anymore because we used to play in the fall, but now we play in the winter. I'm going over there specifically just to get 2 of those big ass things so I can have them for the winter because it's literally the best Oktoberfest ale I've had.
I'm not huge on Oktoberfest beers.
Oh, I love them.
That's probably a cold take, huh? I probably shouldn't say that.
Yeah, that is a cold take. I like the between beers, like Amber Ales and Oktoberfest. They're like right in between, you know? They've got good flavor. I don't know how to explain them. They've got sometimes malty, smooth. They're just like, they're not too light, but they're not too dark, and they're perfect for fall and spring.
That sounds like a mulatto beer.
Mm-hmm. Sounds like me.
We've got the Browns at the Patriots.
Speaking of mulatto, we've got the
Browns. Oh, why didn't I say that? Thank you. Well done. Take advantage of that situation. Another huge spread, though, here. Patriots by 13 over under of 46. Are we going to see the Browns actually show up? They need to start winning some games here, man.
I'm done with the Patriots. I'm done betting the Patriots. I'm betting against the Patriots. I'll never be on the right side. What are they, 5-2 against the spread? They'll probably win this game, but they'll probably win the game but not cover the spread. I don't know. I just don't know what to expect. And this Browns offense, I've seen too much Mike McCarthy in this offense in order to think that I like the players. I like the talent. They need a better offensive scheme.
Yeah.
That's just what it comes down. They need to add on the offensive line. They need a better offensive scheme, and they'd be a really, really good football team. They really would be. The defense is a really good defense. They are. But the offensive line and that scheme it's too much deep routes, and their offensive line can't block. It's Mike McCarthy. Like, I have nightmares watching them, and my team's 6-1 in the Green Bay Packers. Like, it's hard to watch. So I'm just gonna pick the Pats for both sides for the sake of just not going against them.
I like what you said about the Patriots because this is one of those games, though. It's like, God, they could win this by 20, like 5 points again. They could easily do that. But yet, like, part of me still wants to believe in that Browns. And I look at this game and I see 13 points and I say, okay, at some freaking point, having Baker Mayfield, Odell Beckham, Nick Chubb, Jarvis Landry, having all of these guys has to work at some freaking point. And dude, like, time is now. Like the Ravens,
Time.
who we talked about this, the Ravens, we don't like the Ravens. They are right now winning this division by default because the Bengals are a trash can. The Steelers lost a bunch of dudes, and the Browns are underperforming like crazy. This is a wake up time call. This is a time for a statement win. I would never say that the Browns are going to win this game. And then at the same time, I wouldn't bet against the Patriots right now. I'm not stupid. I would not bet against the Patriots in this game. But for podcast sake, against the spread, I'm taking the Browns here.
I honestly wouldn't even be surprised if the Browns just came in and decided to win the football game, but I'm just not going to go one way or the other.
No. This is funny. We saved the best for last because both of our teams play in prime time this week.
Oh, yeah, buddy. Mine's good news is the worst of all time.
It truly is. We'll get to that one. So this is the one road team that is favored this week. It's the Packers by 4 at Kansas City, over under of 47.5. DJ, are you going to freaking cop out and just say Chiefs again for both and then nothing else because it's worked? Or are you going to give us your real opinion?
Patrick Mahomes might play. He was practicing today.
I'm under the belief that you just don't do that, though. Like, do you need to win this game? Yeah, you want to win this game.
Kind of do. What do you have? 3 losses now, or 2?
Yeah, but if you let him sit in this particular game, you don't want to ever concede a game. I get that, but dude, just go ahead and just kind of like let this one get by. Mahomes already needed help with that ankle. Now he's going to have time to rest his ankle, rest that knee, and actually be healthy for when they need to start winning games down the stretch. They're going to be just fine. I'm sorry I sort of ambushed your take there, but I'm saying just don't play Mahomes. I'll let you cut back in now.
They're 5-2. If they lose, they're 5-3. If the Raiders win, they're 4-3. They're 1 game ahead. I guess the Raiders just lost. The division kind of sucks. So, not kind of, they do suck. If it never sucks, the Chargers surprisingly suck. So, yeah, I guess there's not too much reason to play this game because I don't think you have much of a challenge. But he might play. And for that reason, Chiefs against the spreads, Chiefs straight up.
I got to give you a round of applause the way you wiggled into that one. That's pretty good.
Gotta do what I gotta do, man.
Well, I'm going to see if I can't do it the other way. I'm going to take Packers straight up and Packers against the spread. And mind you, we are recording this Wednesday evening. As of now, I'm under the belief that Patrick Mahomes is not going to play. And we talked about this a little bit on our first podcast this week. I don't think the Chiefs are going to be just miserable without Mahomes. I think they have a good enough offensive system. They've got good running backs. They've got skill players on the outside. And it's not like you're throwing in a brand new guy in Matt Moore. Like, Matt Moore's been around the block. He's proven that he can win. He can make plays as a passer. DJ, don't laugh at me. Matt Moore is not your ideal starting quarterback. I get it. But he's a good backup to have for this.
I don't think it's a good thing to be around the block ever. Like, that's not a good sign. That's not how you give the people a vote of confidence. He's been around the block. He's been 100 teams, never been a real starter. Great. I really want him.
No. That's the reason he's been on so many teams, because everyone's kind of wanted to give him a chance, and then they realized he can't be the every week guy. He's made for this game. He's made for the spot start here and there. That's what Matt Moore is. And as I'm talking about him, I don't like my Packers pick as much, but I think it'll be a fairly close game. I'm not betting on it. There's way too much uncertainty, but for the sake of it, I have to take the Packers. It's Matt Moore.
I want to argue against you, but I picked the Chiefs in Chiefs in both ways. But what are the Chiefs going to stop? What are they going to stop?
They're probably going to.
What are they going to stop for the Packers? What? Are they going to stop Aaron Jones? Are they going to stop Aaron Rodgers? Devontae might be back. What are they going to stop?
I hope you're right. DJ, I hope you're right. I just told you I was picking the Packers straight up and against the spread, and I have Devontae Adams. I need some damn fantasy points.
Chiefs -4, Chiefs straight up. Chiefs +4, Chiefs straight up. Sorry.
Let's go to the worst Monday Night Football so far in the 2000s.
I can't believe I'm going to bet on this game on Monday night when it happens.
I'm gonna have a take here, but I'm gonna let you go first. I've got the Dolphins. I don't have the Dolphins. The Dolphins at the Steelers. The Minka Fitzpatrick reunion game. Steelers by 14.5. Over under of 43. Let's hear what you've got.
I hate this game But here's the one thing I said to you today. I asked you, should I pick the Steelers? Should I pick the Rams? You said some shit. You switched some shit. I don't even know what side you ended up on. But let me tell you what. I went with the Rams ultimately because I don't trust. Number one, why is Fitzpatrick still starting? He's still
Because
starting, right?
yeah, there's just an incompetence there.
There's just incompetence. That's all it is. That was maybe the top 5 explanation of all time.
I have nothing else. You know how many people have asked me that question? I'm done trying to explain it. I'm going to like 5-word answers from now on.
I love how you were like serious about it and wanted to give an answer, but you're like, yeah, there's this incompetence there.
That's just me being fed up.
But it's right. It's the correct answer. Like, you aren't wrong. It's exactly what it is. How is Mason Rudolph, favored by 14.5 points in a football game ever? I just, listen to that name. It's a combination of a country singer and a reindeer. I don't understand it. I don't trust Ryan Fitzpatrick because he can stay in the game and he might keep it close, so I'm going to side with the Dolphins. The Steelers are going to win. But 14.5 points is way too much to give a guy named Mason Rudolph.
I want to ask you a quick question, and I don't blame you if you don't know the answer. But back in the day when Ryan Fitzpatrick was like playing for the Jets, the Bills, the Buccaneers, every other team in the NFL, did he always have to wind up like crazy to throw the ball anywhere? Like, was that always a thing with him?
Yeah, he fucking cocks that shoulder back,
Ooh.
and he has to. That's how he's always done it. I remember him doing that in Tampa Bay. That's just what he does.
It's like a 13-yard pass, and he makes it look like he's going to throw it 300 yards outside of the stadium. It's unbelievable.
He looks like a pitcher.
That's just a funny thing to me. I just had to point that out because then you have guys like Mahomes and Rodgers who can like off their back foot, sidearm, 3 fingers, flick it to the 13th row. Like, it doesn't make sense. Here's my take on this. I'm actually with you if I caught everything you were saying there. I have to go Steelers straight up. The Dolphins, say what you want. They're just not a quality team. They don't have to tank on game day because they tanked enough in the offseason to put themselves in this situation. That's how they're actually tanking. You can't tank on Sundays.
I'm honestly scared they're accidentally going to win this game for you.
Yes, that's what I'm kind of getting at. And that's what almost happened against the R words. Because I'm with you. If this is at 14.5, the Dolphins were a shit show the first two and a half like games. 3 weeks, whatever. They've been fairly competitive-ish lately, but it's been against some worse teams. And it's not like the Steelers are this great team. So if you're asking the Dolphins to stay within 14.5, you might have a pretty damn good chance. The only thing is, historically, Miami in Pittsburgh has not gone well. Pittsburgh is a tough place to play. I don't think it's going to bode well, especially on a primetime Monday night game. But, dude, it's 14.5 points. I don't want to call it an improving Dolphins team, but it's a Dolphins team that's becoming a bit more competitive week by week. I just don't see this being a complete shit show. So for that, you're going to give me 14.5. I have to take the Dolphins against the spread. How terrible does that sound out loud?
I might, just for shit's sake, it's plus 660 for the money line. That's a ton of points. I might just put $10 just for the hell of it on the Dolphins, just to win $66.
Well, you see how college football goes. You see how Wednesday during the day goes, and then you just see what happens on Monday night, wherever that banko leads you, man.
If I'm on fire, I'm definitely doing that. If I'm on fire, I win a bunch of money. I'll throw $30, $50 on it or whatever like that, just for the hell of it.
And I will pray that you lose your $30 to $50.
Yeah, whatever.
Anything else you'd like to add before we send everyone into the football weekend?
Braylon, you want to say anything?
Braylon's his son, by the way.
He's got no words.
Oh, he's Mike Shy. We got a Mike Shy child. Well, with that, make sure, as always, check us out on Twitter at LoadedBox. Check out our website, loadedboxpodcast.com. Next episode, we'll be back next week previewing Week 9 as it relates to fantasy football. Available on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, YouTube. Subscribe, rate, and review. With that, DJ, send us into the damn weekend.
Bye.